Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today we're going to continue on with Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific, Admiral's Edition. This classic game, we're playing through the entire grand campaign. Well, we started one day late. It's December 8th was the day that we started, but we are now on turn number 10, if you can believe it. We have set up everything, things are moving, things are happening, and as I always like to do on a Monday, after our turn resolution on a Sunday, I like to go and look at what happened in our intelligence report. So let's go up here, let's see what is going on and what happened last turn. Now what happened? Well, we flew a lot of missions, 3,008 of them, as a matter of fact. I say missions, let's call them sorties like the game does. The Japanese threw up 2158 when it came to sorties. For the campaign now, we have flown a little more than 6,000. Hello, Dave, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping by, as always. We've flown about 6,000 more sorties than the Japanese have so far. Now, this was kind of the big takeaway from turn number 9, the December 16th turn. This right here, which is we only had one air-to-air loss last time. The Japanese had 37 air-to-air losses. That is completely unsustainable for the Japanese. Whether you're playing the AI or a human player, they will just lose too many good pilots. And as the Allies, that's kind of what you want to do, is chip away at that superior Japanese pilot pool. And you get to a point in the far future, I guess, for our game here, but you get to a point where the Japanese just run out of good pilots. And losses like that, 37-1, that helps. Hey, that's my expert advice for today. That helps. Go 37-1 in air-to-air losses. We just had a very good day shooting down. It was a turkey shoot over Rangoon. We finally got some air action at Rangoon. We had not seen any, and the Japanese came in completely unescorted for the most part. And so our fighters just tore them up as they were trying to come in there. 37-1. Now look, if you're playing a human player, that's probably not going to happen. A human player, I don't believe, or at least if I was playing as the Japanese, would never send unescorted bombers to Rangoon because the Allied player is always going to be sitting there with a lot of AA for one thing, but also you're just always going to have a cap over Rangoon. Even if you're playing completely historically, you would have a cap over Rangoon, and so unescorted bombers, as I think Bayard or someone else said, it was a turkey shoot out over Rangoon. Destroyed on the field, we had one. Okay, well, we can deal with that. It's going to happen from time to time. We did destroy 4 by flak. I do believe that happened over Singapore, which I was happy to see. We really need the AA at Singapore, and the cap for that matter, but we really need the AA working well at Singapore because we did see that the Japanese were going to be escorting things into Singapore with some zeros. Those zeros are better planes than what you've got, and they've got better pilots. So, if we can just kind of stay even with our cap, and at some point we're not even going to be able to do that, our fighter corps, fighter squadrons there at Singapore will get chewed up eventually. But as long as we can hold in there like this, that's great. We had 0 operational losses. Kudos to our maintenance guys and the pilots getting them back to the field. To take 0 operational losses when you fly 3,000 sorties is probably some kind of wartime record, but I'll take it. The Japanese suffered 4 that we know of. There's fog of war. Could have been more. Maybe could have been less. Who knows? We're still way ahead. Call it. We have 576 bases. The Japanese are at 260. Now they're slowly taking a few bases in the Philippines. They're also, they took a Lore Star this turn resolution. So our doomed battalion that raced up to a Lore Star, got up there, and immediately surrendered. You know, it was this crescendo building to this historic story I was going to tell, and then they just surrendered on the first contact. But that's okay. You know, we put them in mortal danger for sure. We have taken, well, let's see here. Okay, you can see the points based on the aircraft that have been shot down or lost. We are gaining points on the Japanese when it comes to the air war. That's impressive and good. Army losses. Well, we've taken 471. The Japanese have taken 100 points in losses. That it's okay. You know, we're going to take losses in the Philippines, in Malaya, and in China, where we're just simply outclassed. There's no way to get those units out, or if there is a way, it's way too costly for the benefit you would get for it. So we are just going to run behind on this metric for a very long time, probably into 1943. Ship sunk. I do not believe there was a ship sunk last turn. So we did get some torpedoes in on some Japanese cargo. We saw that we got some hits. There was no confirmed sinking that we know of. And more important, I mean, we just didn't take any losses, which is great. This early in the game, not to take any losses, no ship sunk, is fantastic. If we look at what has happened here over the course of the game, and let's just sort by points, we are really doing well. We're in good shape here. We lost the 2 battleships, and I say this every time, and you know, I want to defend my reputation here. We lost 2 battleships, but there's nothing we could have done. They were on fire, 99 float damage as we started the game. They were hit at Pearl Harbor, and those were going down no matter what we would have done with them. But then if you see here, we have not lost another ship over 10 points. If you can do that against the AI or a human player, whoever you play, you are going to be in very, very good shape as the Allies. So the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 point ships that have actually been sunk have been Japanese ships, if we don't count the 2 battleships that were going down on turn 1. You know, we've taken out a submarine, a Japanese submarine. We have lost some cargo ships. Some of these going into Rangoon. That's going to happen. As I always say, 8 points is kind of my dividing line. Anything that's 8 points or less, we never want to lose a ship, right? But those are the ships that you know, if you need to put ships in danger, just try to make them, you know, 8 points or less. That's not always possible. I get that. You are going to lose a 27-point transport or a 30-point transport from time to time. You know, a Japanese sub will just catch it. And it's, I don't want to say it's dumb luck, but you know, you've got like a 10% chance of that happening every turn. It's going to happen at some point. And so, you know, you just try to minimize that as much as you can. Take those high point transports and only use them to go from like Cape Town to a friendly, safe base, and then use your less point transports to take them where they need to go, assuming that's in the line of fire. Now, I will point out here, look at the Mark 14 torpedo. Excellent. Mark 14 hitting the spot and actually exploding a few times. So that's been great. What other, just trying to look at the different types of things. We hit the submarine here with a Mark 7. This is a depth charge near Lahue, so this was right off the coast of Hawaii at Lahue. Great to get those out of there. And if we go back and look at the map here, you know, we had some Japanese sub activity. I guess we sort of still do, but you know, we're scaring them off a bit here. When you look at all of the destroyers that are in this area of operations, I mean, You know, if I was a Japanese sub operator, I'd say, let's try someplace else. But they will always come here, as they should. If they could nab one of your bigger ships by hook or by crook, that pays off, even if they lose a few subs doing it. You know, if they could get a torpedo off at a carrier, of course, but you know, even cruisers, battleships, something, if they could hit one with one of these subs, it would be well worth their time, and that's what they will be trying to do, and they'll be trying to do it with more subs than just 3. Now, the Japanese sub force is somewhat limited, so everyone that we can take out is great. Where else will they be sending their subs? Well, we should start seeing subs out in this area. That is why I have been running some destroyer escort for everything coming out of LA, San Diego, that little corridor. Same with San Francisco. And again, it's the kind of thing when you play the game, how would you play as the Japanese? Well, where is everything coming out of the US West Coast? It's coming out of LA, San Francisco, and Seattle, you know, up here, Vancouver, Seattle. So, you know, subs here, and subs here. Now, I will say one criticism, it's not a criticism, just one note for you as you play against the AI is I find that the AI brings their subs in a little closer than I would if I was playing the Japanese. I would leave the, you know, my subs like out here in the deep water, but I find that they bring them in a little closer. Now, I guess that gives them more opportunities because as things get out here, they start to spread out. But that being said, man, if the Japanese just put a bunch of subs right here, that could wreak absolute havoc on us because we have most of our destroyers, you know, kind of rotating in here. And we don't even have that many of them to begin with. We don't have a great ASW coverage right from the start. Now, we did get some new destroyers this time, and it looks like they've made their way into the penalty box, as I like to call it. We have 2 groups of 4 destroyers here that are going to be making their way up to the US West Coast. We've got one going to San Diego, one going to LA. Now, they are not going to stay there. We're just going to use that. They're going to Pearl Harbor, but we're going to bring them up here. And as you see, this is how the penalty box works, right? It gets in here. It will tell you how many turns. So in 9 days, it will exit this black box, and it can exit anywhere, you know, where the black box runs. So as you can see, these destroyers are going to come out right here. They're not going to, it's not as if they sail out here and then sail up. They are sailing off map here. And then one's coming to San Diego, one to LA. We'll escort some stuff out to Pearl Harbor. We have some, hey Stanley, what's going on? Good to see you. We have some AOs that are sitting here at LA that I really want to get a destroyer escort with before we send them out to Pearl Harbor. So we will be using, and these destroyers have, they have radar, and so they have a much better ASW. Well, I say much better. I guess it's double, right? Because most of our destroyers have 2 as their ASW rating out of 9. And these guys are going to have 4. I say they're going to have, they have 4 ASW capability. And so it doubles, you know, it doubles our capability there. So that's great. What else is going on around the map? Well, why don't we go and look at, how about group reinforcement schedule? We'll just go down the way here. Now, these are planes that are coming in. Next time we'll be getting what looks like 18 Kingfishers, all right, at LA. Then we get some Warhawks at Eastern US. Now let's look and see. These are attached to the 11th USAAF. The 11th, yeah, that's right, Stanley. I love to make my hockey penalty box reference every time. Game misconduct, right? 9 days. That's a long time in the penalty box. The 11th USAAF is attached to Alaska. Well, I say it's attached to, I think it's attached to the kind of the West Coast. You would have to buy the 11th out. I know that. We have most of it up in Alaska. And so these fighters will have some Warhawks up there. Probably won't need them. We'll see. You know, it doesn't look like we're able to buy them out, but we'll see. we'll just see if we can buy, you know, maybe at some point we'll have to buy the entire 11th out. Let's go up here. I think the 11th USAAF, there it is. Yep, sure enough. It is attached to the Alaska Defense Command. Okay, I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's 172 political points. I'm not going to claim that's cheap. It's, you know, but it's probably less than I thought it was going to be to buy out the entire 11th. What else do we have in the 11th? We've got 20 other P-36A Mohawks, all right, and we have some Bolos and some Bolas. So we've got some generic medium-level bombers here, but we do have 20 Mohawks. Well, you know, once we get those other ones on here, that point value is probably going to go up of what it would take to buy out the 11th. I don't know if I'll do it. It's not entirely historic. Of course, we would want to have planes in Alaska. So, you know, it's just one of those things. How historic do you want to be? How many political points are you using elsewhere? You know, we'll talk about it as time goes on. All right, so we've got those Mohawks in 2, I think. Let's look at this again. Yeah, we got Kingfishers coming in. What did I say? Mohawks? Nope, they're Warhawks. The Mohawks were at Anchorage already. Some Catalinas in 3, some more Kingfishers, some Hurricanes in Cape Town. So the British start to flex their muscles with the Hurricanes coming out here. We got some recon here, O-47s in San Francisco, but then we have these Sky Trains, C-47 Sky Trains in Brisbane. Interesting. Okay, these are transport aircraft. I guess that hence the name, the Sky Train. I like that. I like that name. I don't, you know, it's kind of a good name for a transport aircraft. How many of those do we get? So we get 13 of those. Okay, well those could be helpful to move some stuff around. MWCW709. Hello and hello to you, sir. How is everyone today? Everything going well? It's a Monday, but you know, I guess depending on what you do, that could be like every other day of the week. What else do we got going on? Mojave, so out in the desert, we're going to get some Bolos, some Hudsons, but this is what I wanted to get down here, go and look at here, are these Banshees that we'll be getting in at Brisbane. Looks like all told we'll get 44 of these bad boys in Brisbane, and that is welcome. We do not have many aircraft in Australia. Now, that's somewhat mitigated by the fact that we have a lot in Singapore, Batavia, you know, up in that area that eventually we can draw down to Australia. Now, that's probably in some ways bad news, right? That we had to get them out of Singapore, we had to get them out of Palembang and all those other places. But we do have a lot of aircraft that will eventually matriculate down to Australia. But it never hurts to get 44 new aircraft and get them already stationed at Brisbane so that we don't have to, you know, put them on a transport and roll them all the way out to Australia, which will take, you know, by the time we load them up and they go, it's, you know, it could be a month. And then you see here we got the Yorktown showing up in 13 days. That's another thing that those destroyers that are coming up from the Panama Canal will be escorting. And so they arrive out of the penalty box in 9. The Yorktown will be ready in 13. So good timing, good timing. Stanley says it looks like the first day of spring over here, or the first days of spring over here on that side of the pond. Glad to hear it. David is bored in lockdown. I do understand, my friend. I will say things are starting to loosen up here. I do notice that when I'm out and about, a lot more people. Just seems like people are starting to try to get back to normal. I don't know if that's vaccine related or people just tired of it. Who knows? But I am seeing more and more people out here in Southern California. Luckily, we take a walk. We've got like a nice walk path out here by our place. So we've been, you know, trying to get out and get some fresh air at least and get moving around. Okay, so we got the Yorktown in 13 days. That's always exciting when you get a carrier that shows up. That will be a lot of fun. Okay, so that's what's coming in there. List of withdrawals. Now, remember, if you watched the resolution yesterday, we actually withdrew a group, and maybe you noticed at that time. I didn't really talk about it that much, but we did get 12 political points for taking that squadron out early. And so sometimes you want to go check these if they're just planes that you don't need for some reason. Um, you may want to pull them off early. Now, we don't have any for quite some time that come out, but always keep in mind as well, you need these for training your pilots. And so don't just say, oh, wow, I'm going to get 20 points for pulling this out of here. Great, let's do it. You just don't want to get low on training units. So these in the eastern US that are coming off, these actually all started on the West Coast. We railed them over to the eastern US to do just training. We got them out of the way, but we've got pilots in those squadrons that are training on different things. These are bolos, so it's probably airfield attacks or could be port attack, but we've got pilots that are getting some training going here. In Pearl Harbor, we get some big old B-17s out there. The fortresses in 31 days. Oh, I'm sorry, this is withdrawal. Yeah, duh. We're going to have to pull them out in 31 days. I don't know. They're probably going to Europe or something. Some of the Airacobras will be pulled out in a month and a half, and some fortresses, some more fortresses. Again, who knows where these are going, maybe to Europe. Okay, so nothing withdrawing in the near future. Let's list our top pilots. Did we get anyone close? Oh, we're so close to having an ace here. Burgard, GT Burgard. He's a captain. He's got 79 experience. Man, this guy's been flying around the clock. He's got a 32 fatigue. Woo. He's in the Flying Tigers. You can tell that because it's over here. H-81s are what they fly at this point in the war. So you see the Flying Tigers absolutely went bananas on those bombers that were coming into Rangoon, which is exactly what we need them to do. And so these H-81s are holding their own with these very good pilots. You can see here with the experience, our top pilots, of course, have maybe, they're going to have maybe they're gaining the experience, but they also start off with good experience as well. And that's why they're doing so well. We also have some Buffalo pilots that are doing well. We have this one guy in the P-40E Warhawk who has got 3 kills. So we have several 3 kills, a lot of 2 kills, and this guy Burgard here, although he is really worn out. Let's go look at his squadron. They're only throwing up cap at 50 here. Their overall fatigue is only 17, so they need to rotate him out a little bit. Holy smokes, man. 32 fatigue, he must just be running every dang mission. And so, what are you going to do? You can't really get down to that level of control. So you gotta hope they rotate him out. Either that or we could stand them down for a turn, but I'm not going to be standing down the Flying Tigers over Rangoon, especially now that the Japanese are hitting Rangoon, seemingly all of last turn, and they will be doing it coming up. Now, ship availability, what else do we have coming in here soon? Let's go see. Let's go to the top. Wow, we get quite a few things in one day. We get some nice big, I know these are nice big transports. The Empire Star, the Glenartney at Cape Town. We also get the Adrastus at Cape Town. So that will be nice. We need some stuff at Cape Town. We still have all of that AA anti-aircraft, those units sitting there at Cape Town waiting to go to Rangoon or in that area, to Burma in general. And so we need this stuff at Cape Town. So that's good. We get something down at the Panama Canal, something at Aden. We get a tanker at Abadan. Okay, that's excellent. All that stuff's excellent. We need all that stuff. And then as you see, as the Allied player, you pretty much get a new ship rolling off the assembly line every day. I mean, I guess there's one gap here where we don't get something, but as you see, it just keeps coming, and then we'll get down here to the Yorktown somewhere. It's right in this area, 14, 13 days, something like that. There it is. The Yorktown will be rolling out. It will have some Wildcats, some Dauntlesses, and some Devastators. Um, Look at that beautiful picture there of a Yorktown class. Um, yeah, nice. Okay, so anyway, let's go look around the map. And I always like to start up in Abaddon. I guess I could have used the mini map so I didn't make you guys sick as we went from one side of the map to the other. But let's go look at Abaddon. Let's see what's going on up here. Now we're showing 7 ships in port. I don't find that surprising. Well, you know what? Actually, let's go look at the what we got this turn. So it's December 17th. What arrived here for us? Let's go through these really quickly. Well, it's going to be even quicker than I thought. We only got 3 new things, shiny new toys to mess around with this time. We actually got some planes down in Java. All right, so let's go down to Java to Bandoing, which is right here. We got the 2926 ID. So it's these guys, it's these level bombers. There are only 3 of them. The 139WH, I don't know. I'm not that familiar with that aircraft. I don't think it's one that you see that much of. And so these 139WHs here, they just arrived. There's 3 of them, so great. Dutch bombers, how much are we even going to really need those? But we're going to train them on airfield attack. Okay, it's already set up for that. Let's go out to 100. Let's crank their range back to 0, and let's get their altitude down to 10. That's actually a little high, but that's what Cole is suggesting. So we'll train up these bombers. All good. I'll turn those yellow on the spreadsheet. You guys haven't heard me say spreadsheet. There for a while, you could have played the drinking game of me saying spreadsheet, and I don't know that anybody would have survived, but I haven't said it in a while. So spreadsheet, there we go. So I'm turning that yellow on my arrivals. They are training. As the Japanese get closer, we'll see what we want to do with those. They are Dutch planes, and they are attached to the kind of the overall Dutch air command. So, okay. Then we got something at Bataan, of all places. Wow, okay. So we got something new in the Philippines up here at Bataan. That's interesting. I was not expecting to be getting anything new there. This is, we got artillery there. Okay, so artillery just showed up at Bataan. 6760, this must be the unit. Assault strength 36, I'll take that. It's got the 75 millimeter, what is that, GMC half track? General Motors Corporation half track, I assume. It's an American, I don't know, who knows, maybe it's not, but GMC, I think of General Motors like trucks. As a half track, maybe, I don't know. All those, Ford and GM in Detroit started cranking out a bunch of stuff, so maybe. Motorized support, all right, that's good. Like to have the support. Now we have 12 that are not quite ready yet. Once that happens, this unit gets up to like a 50. It's a pretty nice unit to just have, show up like, surprise, the artillery's here. Thanks, guys. And they already have a future objective baton of 50. So they're already well prepared here. Baton now has an assault strength of 231. Okay. What do we have at Clark Field now? They did, the Japanese kept pushing here a little bit last turn. Now you see dark red, kind of medium red, dark red at the northern part of the island, and they've got dark red at the southern part of the island. Those 2 pinchers are going to meet, and it's not going to be pleasant for us when they do. What do we have at Clark Field? 512, not bad. Now, I seem to remember last time when I looked at Manila, I was surprised it was so low. It's 183 at Manila. That's not great. But now we have this unit here. What's this unit? What's its... what is this? Oh, these are engineers. Right. because we still have planes at Batangas. Question whether that's where we want them. Um, hmm. I generally, once I come under fire like this, I like to have my planes kind of all at the same place. Now, it might not be possible here, depending. Let's look at Clark Field. What's our aviation? Oh, goodness gracious. Our aviation support is 204 here. But look, airfield service damage, 100. Airfield runway damage, so these are getting damaged. They're in the red now. You can see the airfield has decreased down to a 5 or to an 8, a 5 natural. So it has decreased. What do we have at Manila? Well, let's go back to Clark really fast. So we have these are fighter cap and cap. Okay, this is just 2 and 1. These are the P-35s. They could have up to 8. Why don't we combine these 2 squadrons? I'm not going to pick that. I get scared. Now, it would tell us if we're going to lose the planes and pilots, but it still makes me nervous. And so but this group, we have one that's maintenance. Why don't we disband? Yes, here we go. Now we can see this, and we'll put it in one of these other squadrons. We have 2, 2, 1. Okay, let's put it in that squadron, just to cut down on the number of counters we have to look at here. Okay, so we've got those 2 squadrons. What's this? Oh, these are the P-40Bs. Okay. They've got no fatigue. They should be getting up into cap, hopefully this turn. So we've got them flying at 15,000. What do we have these guys doing? 10,000. Let's look at the aircraft, the maneuverability. Yeah, there's no reason to have these guys at 10,000 when we could fly them at 15,000 and get the same maneuverability. These are, got really nice maneuverability as a matter of fact. So let's pop them up to 15. Let's look at the maneuverability of the 40B Warhawks. I just don't remember. Yeah, they're the same too. Okay. Now let's look at these guys. Now, it's going to be the same, right? But what I was looking at is this 20 maneuverability all the way up to 20,000 feet. So why don't we? Oh, we've got them at 20,000. Well done, Cole. Well done. So we've got. Okay, so we've got one at 20. I see he was flying levels 10, 15, 20 with the 3 different squadrons, but we might as well get as high as we can if we're not losing any maneuverability with both sets of those P-35s. So we've done that. You gotta really pay attention to how much airfield damage you're taking because you get to a point that you can't fly the planes out. And you don't want to get to that point. I guess that goes without saying. And so as the airfield at like Clark Field, the Japanese are just going to hit that airfield over and over. If I was a Japanese player, I would actually just forget about Manila and Bataan, which they've also been bombing, and I would just bomb Clark Field over and over. Now, what do we have here? Okay, P-40Es. I forget, is maneuverability. Yeah, we can go to 15 on those, and we've got them at 15. All right. We got this group at 20. Okay, that's fine. We've got 9 in here, 5 in here that are serviceable. We've also got these patrol aircraft. We want to get these out of here before they get destroyed. These are both pretty nice squadrons. We got a 6 and an 11. These kind of planes are why we're building those float plane bases, because as they fall back, we'll take them to those smaller bases where we have tenders for these planes, like this one. Float plane, this is a nice little squadron, 7 of these guys. They don't have much range though, unfortunately. Stanley says, I could read, but I don't want you to do that, Stanley. That's what you pay me for. I could read, but how long into the game can one follow Cole? Well, as you can see, I'm already starting to get off of the spreadsheet a little bit because once you have first contact or units get to where they're supposed to be on the spreadsheet, at that point, then you're sort of on your own. He may have some suggestions of where you want to go next with those things. But as far as the arrivals go, I know he goes all the way through December. I can look here. He's got a whole tab that's called 1241 arrivals. But then he's also got unit arrival dates after that. But I think those are just LCUs. And I don't think that he, gives suggested orders for those. Yeah, those go all the way to the end of the game. I think he gives you every LCU or, oh, no, this is every unit that arrives, in the game on this one tab called Unit Arrival Dates. But after December 41 is over, he no longer gives you suggested orders for those units, as far as I know. I don't think he does anywhere. So after 12/31/41, you're kind of on your own. But he does have a nice tab there that at least shows you what you're getting every time or what you did get all the way through the end of the war. And so that way you don't have to go flip all around the map and say, what did I get new? I'm kind of curious whether I should maybe move, especially the fighters. These guys got chewed up a little bit. They've got no kills. They've got 8 fatigue. What are these? These are the P-26As. Weren't the P-26As kind of an interwar fighter? Wasn't that like what the U.S. Used, between World War I and World War II? I think so. I don't think these are very good planes. I could be wrong about that. Well, shit, I don't know. That's not bad maneuverability. What's its speed? Yeah, its speed's only 234 on the max. Single engine, of course, aircraft. So, I don't know. I don't know what these were exactly. I don't think they're very good planes, to be honest with you. Although the maneuverability, yep, up to the last the first year, Stanley. That's right. Yeah, okay. I do think these are the interwar fighters, the P-26As, but I'm also still not just going to throw them away. Now, what is this running? This is just running a random arc search. Okay, that's fine. Well, at some point we're going to come back here and start trying to, figure out where to move these around. I hate losing aircraft on the airfield because you don't have any. I hate losing bombers or recon or transport planes, whatever the case may be, because you have them someplace that does not have cap over it. It's just a real waste, right? Yes, that was a monster work, that spreadsheet. That's why I'm always like, hey, I know this has been well thought out. Anytime I deviate from it, I always think I do a second or third think time and effort and just thought went into that. Okay, so that artillery unit that's at Baton, that's not going anywhere. That's where we started down this rabbit hole. But over here, this artillery unit, it's going to be at Baton. I think it's attached to, yeah, it's attached to the Philippines. The last thing we got this turn on 12/17 was a civilian cargo ship, the City of Exeter, over here at Cape Town. And that's actually good because we need, of course, more cargo, more things like that over here at Cape Town. So we got one ship in port. Now remember, this is still my head scratcher of the game, how I messed up that transport. But City of, look at this bad boy. 16,800 endurance. You could almost make it 3/4 of the way around the world. And maybe we might. 12 speed, 6,400 cap. It's pretty good ship. We don't really have anything to pair it with here. This is not the kind of cargo ship I'm going to send to take AA to Rangoon. That's for sure. So I guess this sucker's just going to go to Perth. That's fine. We've got a lot of supply and a lot of fuel that is here at Cape Town at this moment. And so we'll do a cargo. We're just going to send it on its own for the first turn anyway. The Baron Cador. It's kind of a similar, Baron Cador's got 39. Now that is in the transport task force right now, but it doesn't have quite enough cargo capacity to take what we needed to take. As a matter of fact, hold on. Let's go back for a second. You know, of course, I made a grand proclamation. I'm not going to send this with the transport task force, but let's look at it really quickly. Yeah, it's a full 6,400. Now, how much cargo capacity we need? We need 2,100, 2,800, and 2,100. So let's just call it 7,000 cargo capacity right now. How much do we have? Well, shit. Now I may just go ahead and do it. Maybe that's exactly what we need. Let's take the Baron Cador out of here, and we'll send that to Perth. Although 3,900, having it run all the way to Perth, all by itself, doesn't seem like very efficient to me. But let's get it out of here for a moment. Take the Baron Cador out. We'll put the city of Exeter in. Now, we would never have this, obviously, run its way all the way into Rangoon. We'll probably take it to Colombo and reevaluate. That's the way I'll put it. Okay, let's see what happens here. We're already docked. Okay, so let's load troops. Oh yeah, we've got this, oh boy, I forgot that we've also got an AT regiment out here. All 3rd Indian Corps. Okay, let's see what, you know, if we were going to put all 3 of these in here, can we do it? I think we can. No, interesting. Okay, so we can't get it all. Why? Okay, let's go back here for a second. What am I seeing down here? Cargo, 7146. Okay, well, we beat that there. We've got 3 transport ships. Am I wrong about that? Troop load available, 6,800. We're not even using any, right? You just have to take the transports with you. No, I got it. So always make sure you go back and take off loading unit before you get out of the screen. Now that's what happened here at Cape Town last time. Now why did it say that? Okay, we've got 3 APs here. Okay, let's, for 1 second, just to see if it makes a difference, let's put the Baron Cador in there. But it looked like we had plenty of cargo capacity, so I'm not really sure what that was about. Okay, I mean, we've got plenty of cargo capacity. Verify. Now it's saying we do have enough. That's very interesting to me, because I know we had enough cargo capacity with just the city of Exeter. Let's hit use minimum ships and see what happens. Okay, it's not taking anything out of here, so I don't know. I don't know why that would be. Let's go back for a second. Let's make sure we don't have loading unit on, and let's go back. All right, so these APs are going to run a lot faster than the cargo ships, that's for sure. Okay, these cargo ships that are coming in soon, that are in the Cape Town penalty box, holy smoly. When do they get here? 13, 10, 14, 8. Gosh, there's a lot of cargo. 9. But of course, Cape Town's got a lot of... Okay, these guys get here in 5, and they're faster. You see here, these AK, Clan Forbes and the Troja, they're faster ships. As a matter of fact, they're the same speed as the transports, as is the Marpressa. This gets here in 9, 15, and we have the Australia Star coming up. Okay, so I'm going to wait on these cargo ships right here. Actually, I probably will only need 1, although we just saw that maybe that's not the case. But, you know, I hate to keep waiting on getting this AA over to Burma because it's needed right now. I'm gonna keep thinking about that before I set everything up. We're gonna keep thinking about that. Before we resolve the turn, we'll figure out what we're gonna do. All right, back to Abaddon. We have, okay, so that was the last thing. We got that city of Exeter. Now Cole was saying we should transport supply or fuel Cape Town to Perth, with the city of Exeter. If Cole says it, let's do it. Let's do it. You know, I keep going back and forth here whether to put it in with that AA, but you know, or to take that over to Colombo. But let's just go ahead and get the city of Exeter going. Oh, I didn't take these out of here yet. All right, let's take the two AKs out for now, and we'll see what we do later. So done. All right, back. Let's form a cargo task force with the city of Exeter. With 6,400, I mean, you could take fuel. It would be worth your time if you wanted to, but I'll probably just do cargo here. Cape Town's getting a lot of cargo built up. So, or I say a lot of cargo built up, a lot of supply built up. So cargo Perth, let's dock it. Let's load supply. Let's send it to Perth down here. There we go. We'll move to Perth, and let's have it do that for the rest of the game, if we can. We'll eventually probably put more ships in here as all of that stuff gets to Cape Town. Over, you know, when it makes its second, third, fourth run, who knows. But we'll eventually get back over there. Are we back? Oh, sorry. Hey, Stanley. All I did, guys, was put City of Exeter into its own little cargo task force here, and we're sending that over to Perth. I did set it up as continuous supply. Okay, so I did that. Baron Condor, it's going to stay here for now. So let's go back up here. Whoops, I'm going to use the mini-map. Let's go up here. I'm going to use the mini-map. There we go. Abaddon. Right. Okay, so what's going on in Abaddon? We're off map. We are... Yeah, this is just a CS Karachi. Yeah, Stanley, the loading and unloading rules, I mean, you have basically two stats that you have to worry about, you know, troop capacity and cargo capacity. And then you also have to have a transport in the task force for every unit. So even if, like, these AA units, they don't have any troop load cost, none. I guess they just assume they're not going to be taking up enough room to batter on one of these big ships. But they have a huge cargo cost. But regardless of that, you still have to take a transport for each one of the units. They just do that to keep it halfway realistic that you would probably put these on transports. But a lot of the transports don't have enough cargo capacity like the ones we're dealing with down in Cape Town there. So you also have to put a cargo ship or two, it seems, with them to take that AA equipment, you know, to take the big guns. And so, you know, you have to dock, then you go to load troops, you go to that screen, and you can see exactly how much troop capacity and cargo capacity you need. There's also buttons down there that say, you know, add a ship to the task force automatically, and the AI will pick one, or use minimum ships, so if you have too many in there. But what I was saying, we were doing that, and it's the mistake I made with that French transport unit, the first task force the first time, is if you click back on the load screen and it says loading unit and it doesn't say select unit, they will put 1% of that unit on the ship, and then you're locked in. I mean, you have to basically unload that the next turn to get it back off the ship. So just be careful with that. It can be a little annoying. The reason the game does that is it's kind of like, you know, we put 1% on the ship, so then it's kind of locked in, and you know that that's what you're doing, and the game knows that that's what you're doing, but it can cause some problems. If you forget, if you change your mind, you just got to make sure you take it off of loading unit and its select unit when you leave the screen. So this is a CS Karachi for supply. So it's loading up here. It's loading up at to go to Karachi here from Abaddon, so that's good. And then we have another one here that's a CS Karachi. When I say CS, continuous supply. So we've set this up. If you haven't watched the tutorials, or if I wasn't clear with that, the CS, you can click on this. Now you click off of it and it says human control, it's completely under your control. You could also click off of this if you don't have orders set up for it, and it will put it completely under AI control, and then it will just do whatever the AI wants it to do. You probably don't want to do that. What you really want to do is find a good home base that has a lot of fuel, a lot of supply, figure out where you want this task force to go over and over, and then just click up here and it sets up continuous supply, and you can do that with either supplies or fuel depending on your ship type or what you want to take there. So this is also loading up. So this is good, man. I love when I get these continuous supplies set up and I don't have to go in and give it orders. This is loading fuel, actually, fuel Karachi, but I've got that set up as a CS as well. We do have 7 ships in port. That's okay because this is, I believe, the kind of Frankenstein task force that we either sent over here from Aden or from Karachi. I can't remember. But I wanted this to disband. Yeah, Stanley, it's a trap. It's a trap. With the back clicking, you change your mind once you're on that transport screen, and if you're not careful, you back click, and you've wasted a turn essentially, and it's really hurt me with that transport down there in Cape Town because I had already sent all my cargo ships out, and I really needed a good cargo ship to go with that transport, but I had done that already and changed my mind, so they were already locked on the one ships. It just kind of became a mess. I hate to relive that moment, so you're bringing up terrible memories for me. So anyway, these guys broke up once they got here. I wanted them to do that, to auto disband when they hit Abaddon, because this really was a Frankenstein task force, just kind of put together of all sorts of different pieces. You see here, we've got a really nice tanker, the British Unity. We're going to immediately put that into tanker task force and load her up. We've got the PG Yara here, which could go with the tanker. Now, I would be absolutely stunned if this thing going to Karachi would run into a Japanese sub, but I also don't want to lose a tanker for even being stunned. So we're going to put the PG with it to give it a little ASW. That's fine. And then we're going to call this fuel Karachi. We're going to have this run to Karachi at first. This is a good ship to run down to Perth as well. It's got a pretty good endurance, got a really nice speed. So we'll call this fuel Karachi. We'll dock it. We'll load it with fuel. And we will set this down to Karachi. And as a matter of fact, I guess I'll make this a CS now. If I do need to get it going to Perth at some point, we'll be looking around at all these task forces. So let's set this up as a CS Karachi. Love those. Now let's see what else we have here. We've got the African Prince and the Bima that are very similar speeds. They're the same ship type, obviously. Okay, let's put those together. It's got to be a cargo ship because they're AKs. Let's make sure we don't pick anything already in a task force. All right, so those two go together, and we'll go done, and we'll do cargo. Cargo Karachi. We'll just have them take supply down there, and we'll do this as continuous as well. So let's dock. Nope, can't dock. We're to our capacity here, but we'll go ahead and have them load supply, and we'll have them go down to Karachi. All of these ships pretty much will all be going to Karachi. No reason not to do it that way. We'll set it up as continuous supply. What's next? We've got Clan Lamont. That's a very, very fast ship with a big capacity and a big endurance. Why don't we send this all the way down to Perth? And we'll get, a Perth convoy going here eventually. Dave, the CS in the task force name, don't you put the CS in the task force name? As far as like where they're going. Yeah, did I not put Karachi up here? I always put right up here. I guess it's not really needed, right? You've got it right there if you need to see it. But I'm just so in the habit of putting the name of where these things will be going. I always put like destination as the name. Um, you know, and then whatever they're doing there, and then I can just very quickly look cargo Karachi, and then I can look over here. Okay, it's CS. I don't really have to look at this again. Clan Lamont. Yeah, let's put this in a. I guess we could do cargo or fuel with that, but let's do cargo. Um, and we'll have this run all the way down to Perth because of that speed and endurance. It's a good unit to run to Perth. Actually, let's go look at something really quickly. Um, what's the situation at Colombo? Because Colombo's the other place you would be taking things from Abaddon potentially. Uh, Good gosh, I still don't have this air garrison built up. Um, that's my fault. I should have come back and monitored this. We've got to release some of the reinforcements for these units here, so that they can build up enough to get to the garrison requirement. That's silly by me. It's at 36 of 40. We're losing a victory point every turn, you know, one victory point, but still, that's a little ridiculous. Um, okay, so we got a ton of fuel and a good supply situation here. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we didn't need anything at Colombo before I decided to send the Clan Lamont all the way south to Perth. Where'd that go? Come on, Clan Lamont. There you are. Can we dock it? Nope, we're completely out of that. So let's do this cargo, whoops, cargo, Cargeo? Nope, cargo Perth. All right, cool. We can't dock it, but let's load supply. We're gonna wanna do waypoints with this, maybe. Let's see. All the way down here to Perth. That's quite a journey. All right, let's see that, let's see how that, why isn't it drawing that out? Oh, I see. It's coming out of the penalty box over here. Got it. Okay. It's coming right off. Okay. That looks pretty good, actually. That keeps it far enough west. I just don't like when it gets too close to Sumatra here, in case I forget about it. And the Japanese, you know, take Padang, let's say, or whatever, and can actually reach that. Let's go ahead. We'll move it just a little further west, but not that far. Let's see. Let's set waypoint 1. This is fine, but let's move this just a little further west. All right, what does that look like? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Perfect. Okay, I always try to have them go to the west of the Cocos. You know, you can go straight down the coast here in India, that's fine. Get around Ceylon, this is all good and fine. Although you might run into a little submarine activity here. All right, am I being a little too ridiculous here? Probably, but let's go up here again. Let's bring it out this way because there's not going to be any subs out here probably. And then we'll do waypoint 2, so we'll bring it out here. Looks like a crooked a dog's hind leg there. We come by mail. Okay, this looks fine to me. This is fine. I'm not going to go any further with that. Back up to Abaddon we go. Oh, now I said we were going to... Oh, shit. Did I do that? No, it's fine. Okay. And we'll have it come back the same way. Yes. Back. We will not have it refuel. It does not need to. It can make it all the way back to Abaddon. Excellent. Okay, so that's set up. What else do we have here? We've got the Maldive, which has a huge endurance as well and a nice capacity. You know, if the Clan Lamont wasn't so much faster, we may send it with that. But as is, we've got a 13 and a 12. Let's just put these guys together. One mile or 1 knot is not going to make that much difference. I mean, maybe over the course of the game, it would make one more time it could get to Karachi. I'm not going to cry over that. Done. And we'll do this as a continuous supply to Karachi as well. God, I love logistics, guys. I should have worked for a trucking company. Down to Karachi we go. Okay, we can't dock it, of course. We've already figured that out. And we'll just do the CS Karachi. All right, I think we've got all those set up. Let's go over and look at Aden really quickly before we wrap up the episode. Ships in port, none. All right. We do have this AA, again, another one that needs to go down near Burma. Now this one's going to Chittagong. We have enough. We should have enough. We've got 3 transports up here now. These are pretty nice. Oh, these are the ones we sent up here from Cape Town, I believe. They finally are here. The Esperance Bay showed up last time. The Chilka has a 3,000 capacity. What do we got here? 2,100 troop, 900 cargo. What is this AA? It's going to be all cargo. 2,154. I don't want to send one of these. They're too good. What does the Esperance Bay have? Of course, it doesn't have quite enough cargo. Now we could, what is this cargo ship? We could send one of these with this is our worst transport. What did I say it was? 900. All right, we could send, and it goes at a 15. Whatever. Why don't we send one of these? So let's send the Hunan. I'm just, doesn't really matter. It could be any of the 3. They're all the same. Let's put the Hunan there. Done. All right. Now we're docked. Now let's see, can we get the AA regiment on here? Looks like we can. Looks like that's going to work perfectly. Okay, we'll accept that load. Nice. Transport, and we're going to be taking this to Chittagong. All right, let's go around the bend over here. Mole Mine, we see Rangoon, and there is Chittagong. Hunan wouldn't quite make it, but that's okay. I mean, it is going to make it to Chittagong, obviously, but it couldn't make it there, make it back. It's only like 8 hexes. The Chilka can give it some fuel, so that's fine. We're not going to worry about that. And then we'll have it come right back to Aden. I'm going to put, minimal. Let's put minimal, so it maybe gets a little fuel at Chittagong. That's fine. So it's loading up that AA. Okay, perfect. I've been wanting to get that AA out of here. Now we also, did we get that Australian unit out of Karachi? Did I load them up already? I don't believe I have. Yeah, these guys are still here. The 2/3 machine gun battalion is just sitting here in Karachi. We need to get them down to Darwin, really. They're part of the 1 Australian Corps, which is the corps we've been putting all of those units that we take off of Australia to like Moresby, Nomaya, wherever we're sending out in the Pacific. So this is a good unit to have. They're a 24, they're not overwhelming, but it'd be nice to have at Moresby or to have down at Darwin. So we need to get these guys on, but it's a 288 and a 1080 for the cargo. Now, I hate to take transports out of Aden, but we may want to take, oh, you know what? We did have some down at Colombo, didn't we? We had to, when we looked at Colombo, I was like, hey, wait a minute. We've got, what about the Hong Sang? What's the deal with this? It's 500 and 1100. Now, what did I say that Australian unit was? So 500 and 1100. And this Australian unit is 288 and 1080. Wow, okay. Well, I don't like it to cut it that close, so we may put, a little cargo ship with it, but I think I'm going to send this troop transport down here, the Hong Sang. Do I have ships in port, but I think these are those, yeah, these are the capital ships. We also have the Khedive Ismail up here, which is a pretty decent ship. What do I have cargo-wise here? Okay, this is a crappy little cargo ship, but it's too crappy, really. Well, we should have a lot coming into Karachi, so let's go ahead and send this up to Karachi. Cool. And we'll have this just remain on station when it gets up there, and then we'll load. Now, of course, I'm going to get a little OCD on you here. I don't like a transport to go like right up the coast like this. Is just submarine haven out here. So let's have it go out past North Mail. This way and then up to Karachi. That's, you know, that's truly abundance of caution there, right? We haven't seen any Japanese activity out here. But we'll send that up to Karachi, have it remain on station, pick up a cargo ship to help, and then bring that Australian unit, you know, down to Darwin to start with, and then once it's in Darwin, we'll figure out what we want to do with it. How did I end up down here? Let's get back up to Aden for a second. And see what else we got going on. So we have this transport Esperance Bay. We don't have anything else to transport now, but we will. There will be a lot of stuff show up at Aden. What is the cargo that we have going on here? This is just saying Aden and Aden. Okay, let's, we're docked. Are we loading it? No, we're not loading anything. Let's load supply. You have a lot of supply here. And let's have that go to Karachi. Cool. And we'll run that as a continuous supply, might as well. And then what do we have here? Same idea. These ships are all the same, aren't they? 6,000 endurance, 12 speed, same capacity. Okay, we'll put all those together. He's already got 14 troops on there. Right, so it's the... I'm going to make sure it's the right one before I take it out of that task force. What is this one? Yeah, the Shin Kuang. Let's put the Shin Kuang in there. Those are all three of the same ships. And now we've got a continuous supply setup with these three all together going to Karachi. And then the only other things we have here are these transports. We've got one that's loading up that's going to Chittagong, and then we've got two that will... Yeah, we're going to get those Aussie lads out of there, Stanley. They're having too good a time in Karachi. We're like, we need you back home, boys. Okay, and then we've just got two other transports. We're going to leave these here as things show up at Aden. We'll be needing them for sure. Before we go this time, let's actually go down here and look. Nothing is happening at Mombasa as usual. Let's just go make sure nothing's at port there. You know, I don't see anything. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Nope. And then we've already looked at Cape Town, really. This is that city of Exeter that we're sending to Perth. We've got the damn transport that's sitting here doing nothing with 3 AA units that want to get out. Oh, we did have this show up, this convoy, supply convoy. This is like an automatic merchant ship and tanker that show up here that bring all of this fuel and supply to Cape Town, and then it'll just like go away. It's nothing you really have control over. It will just sit down here at Cape Town, but it's kind of it's trying to recreate, you know, the big convoys that you would have coming from the eastern U.S. or down from England. But rather than have you have to do all of those, it's kind of an abstraction, I guess. You can see here 30 merchant ships, so that's what arrived here, and one massive tanker. And so this is kind of like its own special unit. Anyway, all right, guys, thank you so much for dropping by, as usual. I think for the most part, the stream was figured out today. I guess we had one little lag there, right, somewhere in the middle, but it looked pretty good when I was watching it. I did see it, you know, spin the wheel once, but hopefully that's all you saw and everything was good today. As always, thank you guys for dropping by. I have a great time every time we do this. I will be live streaming War in the East at 3 o'clock Pacific Coast time. If anybody wants to drop by for that, I have got to get moving on that War in the East, because we want to play War in the East 2 as soon as we can. So, thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Strategy Gaming Dojo, I'm out.